Welcome to WrestleRecap. I am Dylan Graives, bringing you the Raw recap. Kicking off the show, we have Logan Paul arriving with I Show Speed and Patrick Mahomes. They're greeted by the Judgment Day, and we basically just get a circle moment for them, if you know what I mean. We then get a Night 1 draft recap and a graphic showing tonight's draft pool. Then Becky Lynch comes out. She talks about how 6 years ago, after getting punched by Nia, she became the man in this very building. She says she wants to hold the title now that she has it, but titles aren't made for holding, they're made for defending. She also says that we gotta determine a number one contender, at which point Liv Morgan comes out. Liv tells Becky that if she's looking for a number one contender, quote, "Here I am," and the crowd chants "Mommy." Liv says she doesn't want to be handed a title shot. Liv tells Becky that the only reason she has the title is because she did what Becky couldn't do at Mania, and that's take Rhea out. Liv then reminds us that it's the Liv Morgan revenge tour, and she's not going to stop till she gets what she wants. Becky agrees that she wouldn't be champ if it weren't for Liv taking out Rhea, but Liv would be holding it if Becky hadn't beat her last week. At this point, Nia Jax interrupts because, as they tell us, the draft hasn't taken effect yet. Nia gets booed hard, and she calls the audience rude for booing her, and she tells them that they're lucky she even showed up. Liv tells Nia she can't hear her because of how loud the crowd is booing. Like, this crowd was just nuts booing her. Following this, Liv and Becky both laugh in the ring, and in this moment, Liv just went from being the kind of on the verge of being a heel character to a situational babyface. Nia says she should be champ, but isn't because Liv and Becky teamed up on her. Says they're lucky because she got drafted to the superior show, that being SmackDown. She also tells them that that's why she's wearing blue. Nia says she'll soon be champ there, so she's not worried about that. And she makes it clear that it's her last night on Raw, to which the crowd cheers, and Liv goes, "Yay!" Liv and Becky stand side by side laughing once again, and Nia says if she's leaving, she's taking one of them with her. I'm not sure that checks out. Like, they're not ending her. She's just moving brands. So does that mean she's saying that she's going to take one of them with her to the new brand? Like, I mean, obviously she's implying that she's going to beat one of them, but I don't know. The wording could have been better. Nia starts to get into the ring, but Liv drop kicks her off the apron as she was trying to get in. Liv tells Nia that if she was going to make a challenge for tonight, that she accepts. So we'll have Liv versus Nia Jax. Stephanie McMahon is here to announce the first round of picks for the night. Jesus Christ, I forgot this was even a draft episode. We then head into a commercial break, and when we come back, we get the first picks of Night 2. Imperium to Raw, Jade Cargill to SmackDown, Damage Control to Raw, and Kevin Owens to SmackDown. As I said with the SmackDown recap, we will be doing a full video following the roster lock, which at this point is going to take place later today, because I am now into Monday as I record this. Should be caught up for this week to stay on top of them and not be this far behind again. It's been a busy 2 weeks. Nevertheless, we get Gunther versus Xavier Woods next. Gunther takes control early, Gunther takes control early, but Xavier Woods pulls the rope down, causing Gunther to spill out of the ring. He then goes for the drop kick between the ropes, but Gunther dodges it and takes control with a massive chop as we head into a commercial break. When we come back, Gunther is still in control, and we get an Uncle Howdy tease. We're also told that King of the Ring starts next week, and it's based on that. It's not going to be an all-in-one night tournament like I had hoped for, so L. Gunther takes Woods down again with a massive chop, and Woods tries to start a chop battle with Gunther, and spoiler, he loses. Gunther looks for a superplex, but Woods chops him down and hits a missile drop kick for 2. Woods gets his leg caught in the ropes though, and Gunther begins to take advantage. We then get some audio crackles, which I forgot to mention. We had that a little bit during the opening scene with Logan Paul, Ice Show Speed, Patrick Mahomes, and the Judgment Day. So I kind of blew it off then, but then it happened again here, and I know that it happens elsewhere. Now, if we didn't have all the Uncle Howdy teases going on, I would just brush it off as, oh, they had some audio issues tonight. But I feel like that there's something going on with this. I don't know. I might just be reaching. Hard to say. Nevertheless, we head into a commercial break here. When we come back, Gunther has control still, and he's targeting the right knee of Woods that was tangled up in the ropes. Gunther mocks Woods at one point by limping while the ref is helping Woods get out of, or while the ref is checking on Woods. Woods has already been out of the ropes. Gunther goes for a diving headbutt, but Woods gets the knees up. Gunther then chops Woods down again and locks in a half crab on Woods' right leg. Woods refuses to tap though, so Kofi gets a towel to throw it in, but Woods tells him that he can do it. And he almost does. Woods almost makes it to the ropes, but Gunther pulls him back to the center and locks in the STF, forcing Xavier Woods to tap out. And following the match, Gunther kind of makes the motion of taking the crown from Woods and putting it on his head. I mean, yeah. They showed us some of the matchups that'll be kicking off the King of the Ring tournament. Gunther's going to be the guy. I know on SmackDown, a few people declared themselves, and when LA Knight declared it, I pretty positive, I even put it in my notes, that LA Knight will make a good person to lose in the finals to Gunther. But if Gunther doesn't win and reestablish some true integrity to this tournament, I'll have missed my guess. Then Kathy Kelly is going to interview Jey Uso. She congratulates him on being Raw's first overall pick and asks if that adds any pressure ahead of Backlash, which at this point I've watched Backlash. That's how far behind I am. I'm the 2 days after Backlash. Jay says it's no pressure and says Damian Priest is about to catch this yeet down. Yeah, as I said, I've seen Backlash already. Kelly says she has another question. She mentions Logan Paul, in which Jay says he's glad that they signed a Paul brother. He just wishes that they signed the one with a winning record. Obviously, taking a shot at Logan Paul's boxing career. But the interview itself, vastly unimportant to this scene, even though it was the central focus of the scene. The real purpose of this scene is to show us what was going on in the background, where at different times, Liv Morgan first came out of a room, and then 30 seconds or so after, Dominic Mysterio comes out of the same room. We're planting that seed that Liv is going to steal Dom, and I'm here for it. We then head into a commercial break, and when we come back, we look back to acknowledge the shooting that happened at the Kansas City Chiefs Super Bowl parade. And then we are shown special guests from the event who are in attendance tonight and welcomed everybody to Raw prior to going on the air. It's now time for Logan Paul and IShowSpeed to come out and announce more draft picks. Logan Paul asks Samantha Irvin to announce Patrick Mahomes in the house, to which, of course, she does because they are in Kansas City. It's now time for the second round draft picks tonight. And something that I didn't notice when they showed in the general manager brand war rooms before, but in the Raw draft room, they have their boards set up. Despite them picking first, they have their boards set up showing SmackDown picking first, and they're just filling theirs in. I mean, they're still filling it in correctly, like the right people to the right brand. They just have the order wrong. But CM Punk gets drafted to Raw. The Pride gets drafted to SmackDown. Braun Strowman gets drafted to Raw. Hint, hint. He's back. And Tiffany Stratton gets drafted to SmackDown. Michael Cole acknowledges that Drew McIntyre hasn't been drafted yet, but CM Punk has. We'll come back to that shortly. Logan Paul and IShowSpeed head down to the ring, though. And Logan Paul is just talking trash, and he says that Jey Uso is running his mouth, and Damian Priest will beat Jey at Backlash, because Jey made a mistake leaving the bloodline. He can't win a title on his own. Something I have become a master at, as Logan Paul holds up his U.S. title. Jey Uso interrupts him, and Jey talks to the crowd, asking, "You think Jey Uso can beat Damian Priest?" The crowd says, "Yeet!" He then asks them, "You think Jey Uso can be World Heavyweight Champion?" The crowd responds once again with, "Yeet!" Then he asks them, "You think Jey Uso should knock the yeet out of Logan Paul for running his damn mouth?" Yeet! Logan Paul says that Jey Uso can't out-yeet him because he's been yeeting since 2017, so he's real cool. At this point, Balor and JD McDonough are coming down the ramp. No music or anything. It's supposed to be like a sneak up thing, and then Logan Paul basically tells Jey Uso they're here, so, blew that. But Logan says that the difference between them is that him and his bloodline are tight, which doesn't make sense because Logan Paul is not part of the Judgment Day. I don't know. Logan Paul does and says whatever he wants. I would be willing to bet he just goes out there and is told to talk. At this point, Jey sees that Balor and JD are there. And Logan says that Jey's vocabulary consists of 2 words. Yeet and oos. And he tells Jey to shut up, stupid. Jey just kind of shrugs and goes yeet, and then goes after JD and Balor. But the numbers game leads to his downfall. Logan Paul slides out of the ring and goes over to borrow some Super Bowl rings from Patrick Mahomes. 3 to be exact, to use in place of the brass knuckles. JD and Finn Balor hold Jey up. And when Logan Paul goes for the punch, Jey ducks the punch, causing him to hit JD instead, which they really went hard with this angle and JD's face, and later on him just acting like he's got the concussion and everything. It was entertaining, nonetheless. Logan Paul and Balor look concerned as JD just writhes in pain on the mat. And then Jey kind of walks up between them, starts laughing, telling Balor how that's his boy, or something like that. But eventually, Jay takes down Balor, but Logan Paul hits Jay with the rings again. And the monster of all monsters, the monster among men, that's the line I prefer. Braun Strowman comes and makes his return to chase him off ahead of eventually, joining Uncle Howdy. It's got to happen. We can't do this and not have Braun Strowman. I know they're probably going to be on different brands, which means Braun Strowman's not going to be a part of it, and that's wrong. Braun hits a delayed choke slam to Balor, but Paul escapes, and Braun starts to walk away after chasing Logan Paul off, and then he turns to face down Patrick Mahomes. And at this point, I was wondering, is Patrick Mahomes going to take a bump? Like, there's no way. Like, Roger Goodell had to be putting stains in his pants. I do not want to have to censor. Like, all of Chiefs Nation had to be wondering, like, is this man seriously going to take this risk? He didn't. Probably rightfully so, but, man, that would have been great to see. Jey Uso ends up pulling Strowman away, kind of like just putting his arm in and telling him it ain't worth it. I also have here that Finn Balor deserves so much better, and he does. I know he's not going to be the one to dethrone Damian Priest, but that don't mean that I can't try and will that into existence, but it's going to be Drew McIntyre at Clash at the Castle. Print that. Forgot I can censor myself because it's just me. We're then taken backstage where Gable's making a deal with R-Truth for Alpha Academy to have a tag team championship match tonight. Truth says that they made a really good deal because it's do one now and get two later. Truth says it's the draft and they could be drafted to the NFL and play football for the Kansas City Chiefs. The Miz informs him that it's the WWE draft, not the NFL draft. And then Truth says that he needs to talk to somebody. And Miz tells him that Patrick Mahomes is here. And Truth acknowledges Patrick Mahomes as the insurance guy. And says that he can get a bundle on his house. 2-for-1s all day. Oh, man. R-Truth is a national treasure. Needs to be protected. But following this, Chad Gable turns to walk away and eats a haluva kick from Sammy as we head into a commercial break. When we come back from the commercial, we're told that Booker T is here as a draft analyst. You can't see me, so I'm not John Cena, but I am going to tell you, eye roll. Why? Why? Booker, go back, do Reality of Wrestling, do your stuff. Oh my God. Like, seriously, I used to like Booker on commentary. I did. The Fave 5, I thought it was great. I don't know if it's because I'm older now, but he's just so annoying. I'm sorry that this keeps coming up, but oh man. I am sick of Booker T. And it's no offense to Booker. Like, I don't hate the guy. I'm just sick of listening to him. Anyway, Drew McIntyre isn't happy that Punk has been drafted already. And he tells Booker that he was there with him back in the day and he knows how Booker really feels about Punk. I feel like I'm supposed to know what that means and I just don't. But now it's time for the Intercontinental Championship match, which surely nothing could go wrong following Sammy hitting Chad Gable with a haluva kick. Wink, wink. It's Bronson Reed versus Sami Zayn. Bronson Reed takes control early, but Zayn takes Bronson Reed out with a springboard moonsault to ringside. Once back in the ring, Bronson Reed gets a 2 count off of a power slam, and we head into a commercial break. When we come back, Bronson Reed has control, but Sammy fights back into it. Reed gets a 2 count off of a choke slam and then another off of a sit-out power bomb. Sammy kind of fires up a little bit, though, out of nowhere and hits a haluva kick and goes for the pin, but what a surprise. Chad Gable shows up and just picks Sammy up off of the pin and hits him with a German suplex, forcing the disqualification. Gable continues to assault Sammy following this and locks in an ankle lock. Officials get Gable to finally release the hold before Bronson Reed hits Sammy with a tsunami. Bronson Reed should be pissed at Chad Gable for causing the DQ. Just saying. You're attacking the wrong guy. Sammy didn't attack himself and get himself disqualified. But Chad Gable stands over Sammy with the IC title, which finally Bronson Reed is like, oh, maybe it isn't his fault. Bronson Reed takes out Gable then with a Death Valley driver and stands over both of them with the title. We then get a flashback to Kiana James getting drafted by Raw on Friday before heading into a commercial break. When we come back, the APA is here to announce the next round of draft picks. The round 3 picks are the LWO with Carlito to Raw. So we're just straight up making rules up on the fly because we drafted the Judgment Day without Rhea, assuming because she was hurt. The Bloodline got drafted without Jimmy Uso, probably because 1, he's selling an injury, and 2, he's no longer in the team. Well, Carlito's not in the LWO anymore, but yet we drafted him with them. Let's make some consistent rules, guys. It's not hard. It really isn't. Legado del Fantasma gets drafted to SmackDown. Drew McIntyre gets drafted to Raw finally. And Shinsuke Nakamura gets drafted to SmackDown. Drew McIntyre comes out like right away following this and wants to know in what world he gets drafted in the 3rd round. Like, seriously, I agree. He asks APA if they've had everyone drunk, or I should say if they've had everyone drinking since Friday, because that's how stupid that is. And we get some more audio crackles and some CM Punk chants. At this point, Drew calls Punk the farthest from anti-establishment and says he's a corporate kisser. He says Punk finally achieved something. He hurt Drew, fractured his elbow at Mania, but unlike Punk, sitting at home collecting a paycheck with his feet up, Drew's been at work week after week because he's a real man. Excuse my voice cracked there. It is quite late. I'm finally not melting in this room. If you listen to the NXT recap, I recorded that earlier today, like a few hours ago before this one, and it was very warm in this room. It has cooled off a bit now that it's after midnight, so it's a lot nicer in here. Punk's music hits, and we get some more audio crackles. I feel like I've said that already. Drew is looking for Punk, and finally we are shown that CM Punk is up in a luxury box, where he tells Drew that he's not sitting at home, he's right here. He then calls Drew a little and Drew takes off to go find Punk. Of course, the segment wouldn't be complete if we didn't get the Ron Simmons damn! And I am not censoring that because I refuse. We're then backstage with Alpha Academy as Maxine gets ready for her match. Maxine is happy about her 2 eliminations last week before Gable asks her where her championship is and asks if he's supposed to celebrate mediocrity. He then tells Otis to get it together and tells Tozawa to not dance tonight and to go out there and win a championship. After Gable storms off, Ivy Nile comes in to get Maxine to warm up for her match. Still curious where we go with this whole Ivy Nile Maxine Dupree friendship, because I have to assume that the Creeds are going to end up teaming with Gable, and Ivy Nile is linked to the Creeds. So is Ivy going to turn on Maxine as well? I don't know. Or maybe she goes against the creeds. It's hard to say. But we head into a commercial break here, and when we come back, Kathy Kelly is interviewing Braun Breaker. Not really much to say. Sheamus interrupts the interview pretty quickly, and Braun Breaker just does not seem like he's interested in this. But Sheamus tells Braun that he's a fan, and then starts saying banger after banger after banger, until Drew McIntyre finally gets his cue to walk through, and the awkwardness could be just ended. Maybe we get a future feud between Braun Breaker and Sheamus. I think that could be a good one. Maybe that'll be Braun's first feud post just squash matches. Could be interesting. I still think that they should have put him and Corbin at the same time on the same roster as the Wolf Dogs. It's now time for Candice LeRae versus Maxine Dupree. Candice has Indy Hartwell in her corner, while Maxine has Ivy Nile. Once again, I feel like Ivy is going to end up turning on Maxine at some point, and then that'll happen like when the Creeds join Gable, and they'll make a heel faction of Chad Gable, Julius Creed, Brutus Creed, and Ivy Nile. Maxine takes control of the match early and hits the reverse caterpillar before locking in an ankle lock. Indy goes after Ivy Nile here and throws her into the ring post, causing the distraction, and that allows Candice LeRae to escape the hold. Candice LeRae hits the Wicked Stepmother for the win. We then get a flashback to Carlito being revealed as Dragon Lee's attacker, before Kathy Kelly asks Ray how the LWO feels about Carlito getting drafted to Raw with them. Raw says he doesn't know why Carlito did what he did, which means they still have some unfinished business. Ray, Carlito did what he did because you're a jerk. Like, this man is right there on your team, and you decide to pick Dragon Lee to be your partner at WrestleMania. So then he gets rid of Dragon Lee, and now he thinks like he's in the clear. He's going to be your partner. It's all going to be sunshine and rainbows. And then you pick Andrade? Man, you're lucky he didn't attack you. Come on, man. Dominic shows up to remind the LWO that Judgment Day runs Raw, and he calls Ray an old geezer. Ray then asks him how the Judgment Day can run Raw when they haven't even been drafted yet. And he asks, what's that on your lip, Dirty Sanchez? Which got a pop from the crowd. Dom tells Ray that he's lucky he isn't cleared and walks away. And Zelina makes the comment that he looks like he misses his mommy. Well, I think he's working on getting a new one. We then head into a commercial break, and when we come back, Drew McIntyre finally finds the luxury box that CM Punk was in. But CM Punk is no longer in there. But what is in there is a signed, like, not a head shop, but like a signed picture. Punk comes out to the ring while Drew watches from the luxury box. And I made a comment here that Drew looks like that one picture of a dog that just woke up and its fur is all a mess around its face. Like, he just looks done. Punk says he loves Kansas City, so he doesn't want to waste their time, like Drew, and says he's going to try to do this in less time than Drew's title reign, which means he's only got 5 minutes and 46 seconds to do it, and he asks Pat McAfee to keep time for him. CM Punk says that Drew is like an ex-girlfriend that he can't get rid of. Punk says he thought maybe Drew got hurt from sitting on Twitter because that's all he's good for. Punk says he's not mad. Drew gave him purpose. And we get some CM Punk chants. Punk says he got drafted before Drew because he's the best in the world, in the ring, on the mic, and even on commentary. No offense to Pat McAfee and Michael Cole. Punk says that losers hope and pray for things to happen, while winners make things happen, and promises to make Drew's life a living hell when he's cleared. Pat McAfee says that Punk did this all in 2 minutes. Punk then turns his back on Drew, and Punk's music starts playing, and Pat McAfee keeps giving us like every couple second interval updates before finally just being done with it. But then Teddy Long's music hits, and him and Alundra Blaze come out to announce the next round of picks. I'm glad Teddy could manage a second day off from beating Austin Creed and T Breezy in Battle of the Brands, though if I remember correctly, T Breezy did get ahead of him in the latest episode. The round 4 picks are the Judgment Day to Raw, making Ray's comments from 5 minutes ago pointless. Naomi goes to SmackDown. The Mad Dragon, Ilya Dragunov, coming to Raw. I really hope they don't put him in Imperium. I would rather him feud with Gunther than be on the same team. Chelsea Green and Piper Niven go to SmackDown to round out the 4th round. It's now time for Liv Morgan versus Nia Jax. Nia Jax takes control to start, but Liv fights back into it with some drop kicks. Nia goes for the Annihilator, but Liv knocks her down and hits her with the double knees. Nia rolls out of the ring, and the ref tells her to bring it back in, and Nia just gets kind of pissy and starts yelling at the ref a little bit. I'm not sure that was supposed to be picked up on by the camera. Liv goes for a baseball slide kick, but Nia catches her and wheelbarrows her into the announce table. At this point, we're shown that Tiffany Stratton is here to watch the match as we head into a commercial break. When we come back, Nia is still in control, and I couldn't care less about Fall Guy. The amount of pushing they did for that movie got very annoying. Liv dodges Nia in the corner, causing her to run into the ring post, at which point Liv bangs her head against the post multiple times. Liv then goes up top, but Nia knocks her down and hits a Samoan drop for 2. Liv sends Nia headfirst into the turnbuckle, which stuns her. Liv then gets a double set of stomps in on Nia to kind of knock her down. Liv goes for the pin at this point, and Nia's head is like basically under the bottom rope. So obviously Nia Jax kicks out and grabs the rope. Nia takes control with a spine buster, and she goes up for an Annihilator again, but this time Liv catches her and hits a power bomb, but only gets a 2 count out of it. At this point, Naomi shows up and attacks Tiffany Stratton in the crowd. Naomi takes out Tiffany, then Nia takes out Naomi. Then Nia turns around into a code breaker from Liv, followed by Oblivion to pick up the win. It was just a send-off match. Like, Nia wasn't going to win here. We're then backstage again, where Kathy Kelly is talking with Booker T again. Eye roll. Adam Pearce walks by and says his favorite pick in the draft is one that he didn't even make. Chelsea Green to SmackDown. Hallelujah! Nick Aldis, she's all yours. Actually, it seems like she's all Ava's. He then says it's time for him to go make some more picks as we head into a commercial break. When we come back, we get a flashback to earlier in the night when Logan Paul borrowed the Super Bowl rings. And then the Dudley Boys come out to announce the next round of picks with a table. I thought Pierce was coming out. Did we screw something up there? Anyway, the round 5 picks are the New Day to Raw, Pretty Deadly to SmackDown, Lyra Valkyria to Raw, and then Candice LeRae and Indy Hartwell to SmackDown. Once again, full review and full recap and review of the WWE draft coming once the roster's locked. The Awesome Truth come out, and Alpha Academy is already in the ring, and then we head into a commercial break. It's time for the tag title match, obviously. The match was already underway when we came back from break, and the Awesome Truth is in control. Miz and Otis both get the hot tags, and Otis takes control and hits a caterpillar before tagging in Tozawa, who goes for a diving senton, but Miz gets his knees up in time. Truth tags in and hits the Truth crushing finale along with Miz on Tozawa to pick up the win for the match. We then head backstage with the Judgment Day, and Dom says he can't believe they fell into the 4th round, and Priest basically says that it's because they keep screwing up. We then see that JD has imprints on his head from the Super Bowl rings, and JD asks if it's always so bright in there because the lights are killing him in the dark clubhouse. The lights are killing him. I loved it. It's great. Made me giggle. We then head to commercial break, if I didn't say that already. When we come back, Becky tells Liv that she's got her title shot. And then Damage Control shows up and says that they'll be seeing Becky on Monday nights. And then Kairi Sane kind of like ASMR scratches on on Becky's title as they leave. And Becky tells her not to touch her title. Finally, Adam Pearce and Nick Aldis come out to announce the final round of picks. Adam Pearce must have just got lost on his way out there. So, I don't know. I don't know how else to explain that away. But the round 6 picks are The Final Testament to Raw, dumb. DIY to SmackDown, Bronson Reed to Raw, and Blair Davenport coming up, getting the call up to SmackDown. Jey Uso comes out, and Pat McAfee splooges himself because he gets to yeet twice in one night. Then Ricochet comes out. I noted without his WWE Speed Championship, but I've since realized that he technically, while he had won it, the matches hadn't been officially released yet, so he wasn't recognized as champion yet. It's odd. But Andrade comes out then, and I'm still sick of hearing about Fall Guy. This might have been the match where Michael Cole and Pat McAfee just constantly talked about it, like making references with it, and it was super dumb. But then the Judgment Day come out, and JD is struggling with the lights. Jay, Ricochet, and Andrade are also laughing at JD. Balor and Andrade start the match, though, and Balor takes control to start. The heroes stand tall, though, leading into a commercial break. But when we come back, Damian Priest has control over Ricochet. Priest takes Jay out with a head kick, and Ricochet ends up getting isolated. The Judgment Day hit a backbreaker leg drop combo, like a double team move, and get a 2 count after Andrade breaks up the pin. Damian Priest dispatches Andrade, and JD tags in and gets hit with a recoil. Jay and Balor get the tags, and Jay manages to take control. Priest distracts Jay, though, allowing Balor time to counter Jay's attack. It didn't matter because Jay maintained control and ends up hitting a diving crossbody for 2 after JD broke up the pin. Andrade then takes out JD with a back elbow. Priest comes in and takes out Andrade with a roundhouse and catches Ricochet and hits him with a flatliner. Priest then drags Balor over to their corner and tags in. Priest takes down Jay with a choke slam, and he goes for the Razor's Edge, but Jay counters it and hits Priest with a Samoan drop. Jay goes up for the splash, but Dom distracts the referee, and Priest has Jay all set up for a South of Heaven, but JD decides to go up there and push Jay off the top instead of just letting Damian Priest do his thing. and Priest is absolutely irate because of this. Jay hits Priest with a super kick, and Priest runs into Balor, who somehow tags in at this point. And Jay hits JD with a super kick. Then Jay hits Balor with a spear and an Uso splash to pick up the win. Jay and Priest stand face to face to close the show. And I mean, based on that, we all knew, like, we didn't even need that to know, but Jay wasn't going to win at Backlash. And as I record this on Monday the 6th, clearly I already know that he didn't win at Backlash. So, yeah. I'm still trying to find my groove doing these. It's weird for me talking to nobody, especially when my partner can't be here, when John's not available to record at the same times as I am. And we can only wait so long to do these. But I'm getting there. I hope to get better. Start showing a little more character. And hopefully we get people that are actually watching the videos this late into them eventually. For now, it's baby steps. That being said, that concludes the Raw recap. I have once again been Dylan Graives of WrestleRecap. And if you want to support WrestleRecap, you can like, share, and subscribe. You can find us on Facebook. We are WrestleRecap. You can find us on X at WrestleRecapYT. Don't really do much on there. More or less just secured the name for now. More will come in the future when I kind of get into my groove with this a little bit more. But, yeah, until next time, have a good one.